All right, this is going to be a tutorial on how to look at the results of your transparency study and compare it to what it should really look like in Illustrator. So um, what I have here is here's my painted study. I haven't photoshopped it. Um, it's the study that I did that I painted and I cut and I mounted on whiteboard. Here's the study reimagined in Illustrator. Using the exact percentages of black to white. And I'll show you how that works. So I can look at these, and the one problem I see is everything looks really good except for this value right here, my number 3 value. Number 1, number 2 look good. If you compare to where it looks like it should have been a little bit lighter, and that makes sense because look at how low contrasted it is between uh, the number 4 value and the number 3 value. So this was just too close. Here it's exactly right. Okay, let's look at how we're going to do this. So we're going to do this in Illustrator. So we're going to make a new file, and we're going to make it 8 by 10. Everything that we've done so far. Okay, so we want to make sure that we have the tool set, which default, let's have layers and then swatches. This is really important, and what the swatches will bring up is this set of grayscale values, and that's going to be very useful for this. We want the transparency set. That's going to be necessary to set our design. Okay, now what we need to do first in the first layer is we're going to bring in our photograph. So we need a good photograph of our project, and I had already photographed it. I'd cropped it in Photoshop to 8 by 10. So I'm going to go File, Place. Okay, so here we go. Since it was cropped at 8 by 10, it fits exactly. All right, so now I'm going to create another layer, a second layer. So let's just lock this layer because we're not going to do it. We don't want it to change. All right, so I'm going to do this study exactly the way I did the painting. I'm going to create 5 4-inch squares, but I have to do them individually. I cannot copy them. So I'm going to go to the square tool, click on it, and then just click, and then I will type in 4, 4, and then I just want to look here. I want to make sure that my fill is selected, but not my stroke. And right now it's going to be sort of a light gray, and that's okay. So I'll hit OK. There it is. It comes in. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place these right over the existing tiles. But in order to see it a little bit better, I'm going to bring this down to about 50%. Okay, so I can see this. Now, this is very close. You know, I can see that maybe the first one I was trimmed was not exactly out of square, but I can leave this one just like this. It'll be fine, okay? So now I go back and I'm going to do it again. 4-inch, okay, and it brings in another one. Now, this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it right to the corner there. And I'm going to go to my rotate tool. And I'm going to select this corner as the rotation point, and then I'm going to come and select this corner and I'm going to swing it around. Now it looks like it's a little bit too big. So let me change the opacity. Because we want this to look very similar. I'm going to hit the Shift key. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to bring in another one. Okay, now we have all of them in here. So you can see by selecting them all, they're very, very transparent. What I want to do is lock this layer, and now I'm going to select all the objects, and I'm going to go Object, Flatten Transparency. And then I'm going to go Object, Ungroup. Okay. So now they're all paths. Um, so what I can do is just start looking at, well, I want this first one to be black. So select it, black. And then the next section, I just want to go the next value up and just keep working up the value scale. And now I want to go to number 9. There we go. That's exactly how it should look like. I've got my 100%, 90%, 80, 70, 60, 50. I could change this whole thing and go 90, 80, 70, 60, 50 if that works out a little bit better. But basically this is the idea. The next thing I want to do is make a clipping mask to crop it all. So just go to the rectangle tool, select the entire area, and then select the entire composition and go Object, Clipping Mask, Make. There we go. And then I'm going to export it as a JPEG. I should probably save it, so I'm going to go File. And I can call this and then I'm going to export it. Okay, now there's one more step we have to do. We have to go into Photoshop. We're going to open that file that we just saved. And you can see that even though I exported as a JPEG, it saved all the information from the original Illustrator file. So I've got this set at 8 by 10. So all right, now if you wanted to compare the two, so we have one that is the original, and then this is the Illustrator study. So the image size, they're 8 by 10, so we can make a new file. So we can go File, New, and we can make it, let's just keep it really simple. Let's make it 16 inches by 10 inches at 200. And then let's place those files. So the first one I want to place is the one that was my photograph. Make sure my snaps are set. Go File. Now I want to place the study. So it is Value Study 2. There you go. Now I can compare the two side by side. So I'd like you to create a file. Let's see how big the image size is. Go Image Size. So that's huge. So let's change the width down to, let's say, 1200. at 200. Okay, and then save that. We'll call it comparison. Save that as a JPEG. And then load those like that into your Blackboard journal. So you can pretty much grade yourself when you do that. You can decide whether or not, I'd say if you were this close, that's anywhere between a 90 and a 100%. Um, if you have, we have a total of 9 values. I'd say if you have 8 values that are right on, that's pretty good. Once you start getting less than that, then, the grade starts diminishing. So that's that.